Acevedo, Chief Pena, Carol Haddock, as well as, and Chief Bunick, as well as Chief Christensen, Jeff Linder, and Mark Sloan from the county side. Everyone's available to answer questions. I'll speak briefly, then Mayor Turner, and I'll repeat my remarks in Spanish, then we'll take questions. I want to be very clear with folks, and that is the window to prepare for this historic storm has closed, as the time to hunker down is here. This is the beginning of an incredibly challenging couple of days for our region. The total amounts of freezing rain, snow, sleet that are going to fall, we still don't know exactly. But I want you to know that because of the intense cold and the duration of that intense cold weather, we're going to be in for some serious challenges. What we have is a dual threat: ice on the ground and extreme cold weather. Any amount of ice on the ground in Harris County is a dangerous situation. We're already beginning to see some of that in our northwestern regions of the county, and expect to have ice throughout the rest of the county's roads as the days continue and the freezing rain falls. Prolonged extreme cold will cause a cascading set of effects, including burst pipes, potential power outages, and dangerous outdoor conditions. The bottom line is this: now is the time to hunker down. Things might get uncomfortable over the next couple of days. You may lose power. It's going to be cold, that we can be sure of. But anything is better than being out in the elements. Our roads are not safe right now. Every hour that goes by, roads throughout Harris County become less and less safe as freezing weather moves from the northwest to engulf the entirety of our county. I'll give a brief update on what we're doing. I've signed a disaster declaration for Harris County for this emergency. This declaration allows our emergency officials to have flexibility in procuring the tools, the equipment that they're using to prepare and to respond to this situation. I've ordered our emergency center here at Transtar activated to level 1, our highest level of activation, to ensure we are ready to fully coordinate and respond with partners from across the county, and we've got partners right now collaborating on the floor of our emergency operations center. A brief note on emergency warming centers. In addition to the city center, which is George R. Brown, we as a county are operating 9 smaller emergency warming centers throughout the county that are available for folks who don't have anywhere else to shelter. That's very crucial. These are shelters of last resort. They have very limited capacity. They've got very austere conditions. They're just a basic shelter for the elements. So if you have a home, if you're at home, please don't try to seek out these shelters. We're sharing the locations with emergency personnel and homeless outreach organizations so that they can work to transport folks there as needed. But they're not open for the general public. They are for homeless populations, for stranded motorists, and for others in extreme danger who call 911. If you lose power, and it's certainly a possibility of sporadic power outages, if you lose power, you're safest at home. Wear layers, stay warm, but please don't go outside if you lose power. County buildings and services will be closed Monday and Tuesday, and those closures may extend further pending the weather. We're also coordinating with the City of Houston and with other jurisdictions to make sure we're treating roads for first responders as they do their work. Here's what we're asking you to do. First and foremost, and you all saw this in the recent emergency alert, stay off the roads. You may think the roads look safe, but remember, even a small layer of ice makes them life-threatening in our region. If you see snow, and we'll see some of this tomorrow, it's not safe. We expect there to be a layer of ice underneath the snow. As an example, we already had 10 cars stranded on 290 and Highway 6 this morning, and that's just a preview of what's to come. Very quickly, the temperatures that began in northwest Harris County are spreading throughout our county as the evening progresses. So please stay off the roads, not just to protect yourself, but to help first responders who need to respond to emergencies. Please minimize any exposure outside. We're going to be in sub-freezing temperatures, so don't have any exposed skin. Sidewalks and walkways will be very dangerous. Make sure if you go outside, you're bundled up, you cover exposed skin, take care of your children as well. Be very, very careful. Check on your neighbors. We're all first responders when it comes to emergencies, and so calling your neighbors, making sure that folks in your area and your street are doing okay is crucial. This is very important. Please only call 911 if you're in a life-threatening situation. We're all going to be uncomfortable in some way or another. We want to make sure that we're directing limited resources to those who need them most. And they're particularly limited right now because of the conditions of our roadways that are going to worsen as the night progresses. Monitor local media for the latest information, and as always, visit readyharris.org for additional updates and information. It's going to get colder throughout every corner of the county as each hour goes by. The latest models show temperatures in the teens. Tomorrow into Tuesday, this is unprecedented. We're not used to this weather. But we're tough, resilient people. We've been through a lot together. No one knows how to shelter in place like we do. We'll get through this, and we'll get through this together. Mayor Turner, thank you for your leadership and your partnership.
Judge, thank you. And let me quickly say that I want to echo every single thing that you have said, and I'll come in total agreement. Just today, I also signed an emergency declaration, just like you did, Judge, for the city of Houston. And then the Office of Emergency Management is also activated at its highest level. And I want to acknowledge Chief Munich for the work that he's doing in his team. And many of them will be starting tonight at the HEC Center until Tuesday as we go through this crisis. I also want to thank Chief Pena and Chief Acevedo. They are activated pretty much at full force while we are going through this situation. So I want to thank them, want to thank the police officers, want to thank our firefighters, EMS for being out there and being prepared to deal with any situation that may emerge. I want to thank Carol Haddock, Director Haddock of Public Works. They have been out working in conjunction with TxDOT, with the county, making sure that we are attending and treating our bridges and overpasses in the city of Houston. And want to echo, Judge, what you had to say. And that is, it's not just the overpasses and the bridges, it's every street, every road in this crisis that is dangerous. So I want to encourage people to stay home, to stay off the road. That's very important. And not just for the people, not just for the drivers. I want you to think about the firefighters, the police officers, other municipal employees, like public work employees, and others who will have to respond to a situation because you're on the road. So please don't just think of yourself, but think of other people as well. Please stay off the road. I know we've been asking people to stay home and be mindful of the situation dealing with COVID. This is another challenge that we're having to face. But between now and Tuesday, again, I want to echo what Judge Doug had to say. Please stay off the road. Help yourself and help others as well. With respect to our warming center, we have set up the major one for us, Sister George R. Brown. Let me just say that warming center is pretty much already at capacity. We had planned for about 200 up to about 500. And just before starting this press conference, I'm told that we are pretty much at capacity. And again, that was primarily intended for people who are living on our streets, the homeless population. We haven't turned anyone away, but the George R. Brown at this point is pretty much at capacity. I want to thank the members of the Red Cross. I want to thank the City of Houston's employees that are staffing that warming center, and many of them will be away from their families from now until over the next 72 hours. So really want to thank them. I also want to acknowledge that Lakewood has advised us that they are currently open up as a warming center. So let me encourage people who may not be able to go to the George R. Brown or to one of the centers that the county has set up. Lakewood is also open up as a warming center. And just like the county, there are several other warming centers that we have set up that we are not making that public announcement, but we are providing that information to our partners. And so if you need a warming center, please call 311 or 211, and you will be directed to one of the warming centers that's closest to you. But I do want to thank our faith-based community that have stepped up, that are opening up various centers throughout the city. And again, the emphasis is on the 4 Ps: people, pets, plants, and pipes. So don't forget about your pets. Let me just say, please bring those pets in. Do not have your pets out in this cold, frigid, and freezing weather. So please bring the pets in. Think about them. They are part of your extended family. Treat them accordingly. So please be mindful of that. For example, even at the George R. Brown, we are accepting pets. And I want to thank Metro, because Metro has helped to transport people, for example, to our warming centers, and they have allowed pets. They encourage people to put them on a leash, but they are transporting people and their pets as well. So let me give a big thank you to Metro. And then let me just say I had a talk to Centerpoint just before starting this press conference. Because of the usage, the load usage, there are potential for rolling blackouts throughout the state of Texas, including this area, the Houston area. So it is possible that they could start having rolling blackouts even this evening. So I want people to be mindful. If by chance your power should go out this evening, but there are 3 risk periods: this evening, Monday morning, and Tuesday morning. Those are the 3 time periods where there could be rolling blackouts. And a rolling blackout could last anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. And it could happen more than one time let's say in the evening, or on Monday morning, or on Tuesday morning. So if you should experience a blackout, power goes out, I don't want you to panic. I don't want you to panic because those decisions are being made by ERCOT, the grid, those who coordinate the transportation of our energy on our grid. It's a statewide decision that's being made, and it's happening. It could happen all over the state, but we are not immune from that occurring. So it could start this evening, anywhere it could be from 15 minutes to an hour, and they are very sensitive and of trying to avoid having to turn off power to our hospitals, for example, our police stations, our fire stations, our major facilities, water and wastewater treatment facilities, many of our key infrastructure needs. They will try to avoid turning off power to those facilities. But if by chance it should occur, I just want you to know, please be on the lookout. Now, how can we keep it from happening? That means we have to conserve our power, our usage, which means that how you can participate, you can turn your thermostat down to about 68 degrees. Okay, instead of blasting it at 76, 78, turn your thermostat down to like 68 degrees. That will help to ease the load. During the day, for example, you can open up your blinds and allow some of that outside energy to come in, okay? And then in the evening times, shut those blinds to conserve the power the temperature inside your homes. But everyone can play a part in the conservation of our power so that the system is not overloaded. That's one of my primary concerns. Simply want people to be aware. If by chance the power goes out, it could be out for about 15 minutes to an hour, and it could happen for more than one time. Stay in your home. Stay at your home. Don't leave. Don't feel like you got to get up and go to some shelter. That's not going to avoid the situation. So please bear that in mind. Let me just say, let's just look out for one another, especially our seniors. Okay, please take the time to check on our seniors. Make sure that they're doing okay. People with special needs, please check on them as well. Help us all stay off the road. Take this very seriously. Okay. And so don't just decide that tomorrow that you want to get out there and take a drive. I don't think you want to do that. In fact, I know you don't want to do that. So please be mindful. Let's take this seriously, and we'll come out of it and be okay on the other side. Thank you, Judge. Appreciate your leadership. And we're just going to have to meet on Valentine's Day other than when we're dealing with the cold, frigid weather. Happy Valentine's, everybody, and be safe. Enjoy.
Thank you, Mayor. And I do want to acknowledge what you mentioned. So many first responders, all of these teams working, spending their Valentine's Day protecting everybody. And so a big thank you. And I want to acknowledge precinct commissioners, Commissioner Rodney Ellis, Commissioner Adrian Garcia, Commissioner Tom Ramsey, and Commissioner Jack Cagle, who've been working also to protect those roads, particularly for first responders, get those emergency warming centers stood up. This is something that we'll be able to get through it as long as we all work on it together. Briefly in Spanish. Buenas tardes. El momento, el espacio para prepararnos para esta helada histórica se ha cerrado. Este es el principio de unos cuantos días increíblemente difíciles que vamos a ver en nuestra región. No sabemos todavía con seguridad cuáles van a ser las cantidades totales de aguanieve, lluvia helada, ni nieve, pero sí sabemos que estamos enfrentando una doble amenaza. Hielo sobre las carreteras y frío extremo prolongado. Cualquier cantidad de hielo sobre nuestras carreteras, nuestras vías, es una situación peligrosa. Ya estamos empezando a ver ese hielo en las áreas del noroeste del condado y predecimos ver hielo a través de las vías en todo el condado a medida que se continúe congelando todas las áreas del condado. El frío extremo prolongado va a causar una serie de impactos, como explosiones de tuberías, apagones y condiciones peligrosas para las personas que estén expuestas a los elementos. El mensaje más importante es este. Ha llegado el momento de resguardarse. Durante los próximos 2, 3, 4 días vamos a estar incómodos. Se van a poner las situaciones incómodas. Puede que haya un apagón en su hogar. Es seguro que va a estar haciendo mucho frío, pero cualquier cosa es mejor que estar fuera expuestos a los elementos. Nuestras vías en este momento y a futuro no son seguras. Cada hora que pasa, las vías a través del condado Harris se convierten menos y menos seguras, más y más peligrosas, porque ese clima helado que está empezando al noroeste de nuestro condado se expande a través de todo el condado a medida que pasan estas horas y entra la noche. Déjenme hablar brevemente acerca de lo que estamos haciendo aquí por parte del condado. He firmado una declaración de desastre para el condado Harris. Esa declaración permite a nuestros trabajadores de emergencia tener la flexibilidad para obtener las herramientas que necesiten para responder a este desastre. He también ordenado a nuestro centro de emergencias que se active al nivel 1, el nivel más alto, para asegurarnos que podamos coordinar y responder a estos retos. Una nota acerca de los centros de calentamiento de emergencia. La ciudad ha establecido el centro de George R. Brown Nosotros por parte del condado hemos establecido 9 centros de calentamiento, específicamente para las personas que no tienen dónde más refugiarse. Eso es importante. Estos son centros de última opción, último recurso. Tienen capacidad muy limitada. Son condiciones bastante austeras, bastante limitadas. Es simplemente un refugio básico contra los elementos. No están abiertos al público en general. Son para las poblaciones, las personas sin hogar, son para conductores que estén varados en las vías, para otras personas en peligro extremo, quienes llamen al 911. Entonces hemos compartido los sitios, los centros de calentamiento con nuestra policía, nuestros trabajadores hospitalarios, todos los trabajadores que están respondiendo estas llamadas para referir personas que estén en peligro, pero no son para el público en general. Si está en un hogar, si tiene su casa, quédese ahí, aunque haya un apagón, aunque se vaya la electricidad, por favor no salga. Es más seguro estar en su hogar con cobijas, con chaquetas, a estar por fuera en las carreteras peligrosas intentando llegar a otro refugio que simplemente va a ser igual una estructura para protegerse de los elementos. Otro punto, los edificios, los servicios del condado están cerrados, estarán cerrados lunes y martes y posiblemente más allá del martes si continúa este clima. Estamos coordinando con la ciudad de Houston y también con nuestros comisionados, el comisionado Rodney Ellis, el comisionado Adrián García, el comisionado Tom Ramsey y Jack Cagle, para asegurarnos que estamos proporcionando escoltas para los trabajadores de emergencia, ambulancias, policías, bomberos que tengan que pasar por las vías. Eso es lo que estamos pidiendo que hagan ustedes. Lo más importante, no maneje. Puede que piense que las vías son seguras, pero recuerde que una capa de hielo, así sea delgada, hace que nuestras vías sean extremadamente peligrosas. Mañana vamos a ver nieve. Si ven nieve en las vías, igual no significa que las cosas sean menos peligrosas. Lo que se espera es que, o predecimos, es que va a haber una capa de hielo debajo de la capa de la nieve. Por ejemplo, ya vimos 10 carros varados en el área de la 290 y la Highway 6 esta mañana. Eso simplemente es un ejemplo de lo que viene al resto del condado, porque esas temperaturas han empezado en el área noroeste y se están esparciendo a lo largo de todo el condado en las horas que vienen. Entonces, por favor, no maneje, no conduzca, no solo para protegerse usted, sino también para los policías, los bomberos que tienen que estar respondiendo a otras emergencias. Por favor, minimice la exposición a los elementos. Vamos a estar en temperaturas bajo cero por bastante tiempo. Entonces, si sale a caminar, de repente disfrutar la nieve, tenga cuidado con la piel expuesta. También a las aceras van a estar muy resbalosas, peligrosas para caminar. Llame a sus vecinos, en su vecindario, sus contactos, asegúrese que ellos también estén bien. Así podemos todos ayudarnos los unos a los otros. Esto es importante también. Llame al 911 solo si está en una situación peligrosa, potencialmente de amenaza a su vida. Queremos asegurarnos que los recursos limitados que tenemos sean dirigidos solo a las personas que tengan más riesgo. Si se le ha ido la luz, no llame al 911. Piense bien si realmente es una situación de peligro serio antes de llamar. Monitoree los medios locales. Como siempre, puede visitar readyharris.org para más información. Va a ser más frío a medida que pasen las horas. Los modelos nos muestran temperaturas en bastante bajo cero en grados Fahrenheit, en menos de 20 grados Fahrenheit, grados centígrados, mucho más allá del bajo cero. Y eso se predice va a continuar hasta el martes por la noche, de repente inclusive entrada el resto de la semana. Esto no lo hemos visto antes, realmente que no lo hemos visto, pero nos estamos todos preparando. No estamos acostumbrados a este tipo de clima, pero somos fuertes, Somos una comunidad fuerte que ha sobrevivido mucho, todos unidos, todos juntos. Y nadie sabe resguardarse mejor que nosotros, que hemos sobrevivido tantos huracanes. Entonces vamos a pasar este reto, vamos a pasarlo juntos. Hay muchísimos trabajadores de emergencia trabajando hoy en Día de Amor y la Amistad con gusto para proteger a todos ustedes. Ayúdenos también, no conduzca, tenga cuidado en su hogar y por favor no llame al 911 a menos de que sea necesario. A resguardarnos ahora, muchas gracias. We'll take questions now.
I've got two questions from the pool here. First, what are your biggest areas of concern in the highways? And then a question for Mayor Turner. Now that George R. Brown is at capacity, are you going to be turning folks away?
So the first question is, what is our biggest concern? Right now, my biggest concern is the roadways, We've been looking at a map. I was just looking this afternoon at a map of roadway incidents, and you can see very clearly those happened in the areas where the freezing temperatures have already reached. And so it's very, very important that folks stay off the roads so that we don't cause a disaster on top of a disaster. And after that, obviously, the population that doesn't have the ability to shelter, and that's why we've been working so hard on these warming centers and making sure that the 911 system and all of the first responders are ready to transfer folks who don't have the ability to be inside a home, inside a structure. But look, all of these are challenges that we can face. We have the risk of the power going out. We've got the risk of the burst pipes. But that's why I know that we've been preparing just as we do for a hurricane, making sure that the provisions are there, that we're taking care of our pets, that we've got medicine, that we've got food. So now is the time where that'll serve us well if that were to happen. I know there was a question for the mayor about GRB being at capacity.
Let me just say that our hope is not to turn anyone away in terms of those who are seeking shelter, warming center, especially people who are on our street, the homeless population. And so Chief Bunick and his team have moved to kind of expand capacity so we don't have to turn anyone away. I certainly want to thank Lakewood Church for opening their facility, opening their church, making that available. I really want to appreciate them. They've reached out to us. And so let me thank Lakewood Church that's now available. And then there are some other warming centers that we have have not publicly announced. And that's why if you need a warming center, ask that you call 311 or 211. And then we'll try to channel you to some of the other warming centers that's available. But let me just say this, our number one priority has been for people who are on the streets, people who are homeless. If you are in a home, for example, preferably, please stay where you are. It's treacherous to try to get on the streets, to get on the road. So if you are in a home, okay, conditions may not be the best, but we would encourage you to stay where you are. This is a situation that's going to last approximately about 72 hours. So that would be my advice. Now, if the situations are just dire and you need to come away, then please call 211 or 311. So it's our hope not to turn anyone away where there is a genuine, real need. We will work as best we can. You may not be at the George R. Brown, but we'll try to channel you to some other location that's available. And then in terms of major concern, in addition to what Judge said, I agree with everything that Judge had to say about being out on the road. Again, the space heaters, carbon monoxide, the space heaters. And Judge, if you will, Chief Penn, you can say it much better than I can. Sure. So if you would, why don't you come and address that?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Judge, for having this briefing. I want to stress the fact that, as the Mayor and the Judge have mentioned, we may run the risk of power outages. If you are using space heaters, please be careful with that they remain at least 3 feet from any combustibles. Do not plug anything else other than the space heater into the outlet, and plug those directly into the outlet. Since in the last day, we've had already 3 fires as a result of the use of inappropriately placed space heaters. And so it's very dangerous, and it's very important for us to take proper precautions when we're using these space heaters. Again, we want to stress the fact that we do not recommend, do not use your stoves, and do not use your ovens or open grills inside the home to heat your homes. Carbon monoxide is tasteless and odorless, and it is deadly. So please ensure that you have a working smoke detector and a working carbon monoxide detector, and heed these precautions. The fire department, police department, public works, we're fully staffed. I want the community to rest assured that we are fully staffed. But again, the best way to thank these first responders and these public employees who are out here serving this community, the best way to thank them is to protect yourselves and take care of yourselves to ensure that we're not responding unnecessarily. If I may, just real quick, the ambulances, the ambulance service for the fire department will be transporting patients to the nearest appropriate facility. Okay, this is a change in protocol that we have now. A patient that requires 911 and requires transport to the hospital, we're no longer going to drive across town because that's where the patient's hospital is. We're going to respond, and we're going to transport the patient to the nearest appropriate facility. I want to ensure that the public is aware of that. And please be judicious about the use of 911. Reserve those for true emergencies. It prevents a drain in the system, and it prevents our first responders and public service employees to be out there unnecessarily. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Mayor. Chief Pena and I have been working very closely together on safety aspects. The other thing that I want to remind people is when you start your cars, there's going to be people who think, oh, I can go in my car and get warm. Do not start your cars or run your vehicles in your garage. You've got to back that vehicle out. But again, we're trying to keep you in your home, but if you do get into your vehicle, make sure you have backed out of your garage. The other thing we want to encourage, Chief Pena mentioned about the fires we've already had. No 2 ways out of your home. Make sure you have a plan to get your family out. Make sure you have a meeting place. And if you do have a fire, get out and stay out. But again, check your smoke detectors. Tonight is a perfect time to go and make that plan with your family. So if something does happen, we talked about the 3 feet around space heaters. Make sure you're doing that with your fireplaces. Also make sure if you're bringing your pets in and you're using UL rated heat lamps to keep your pets warm or out in a colder area outside of your house. Make sure you don't have those too close to any warming materials or you know, rugs or anything that you may have that could catch fire. This is a unique time for us. It's something that we don't normally plan for, but remember, those heat sources can cause tremendous damage to you, your property, and to your family. So get out, stay out, make a plan. Thank you.
Thank you.